Governor Huckabee, I'll start. Can you explain to us a little bit about your position on Common Core?
Well, Common Core's origin was valid. It was the idea that states would control education standards in math and reading. But it got completely off the rails when the federal government got involved, started adding a bunch of things to the stew that made it completely unacceptable. And now the result is it's a disaster, and states are abandoning it, as they should.
And one thing you mentioned was that the difference between state control and federal control.
Right.
We're seeing a lot of discussion of that, from Obamacare to the state flag in South Carolina. What can the next president do in terms of reining in the federal government that's been growing for at least a century in a way that won't be easily reversible? Is there anything they can do?
Well, one thing the president ought to do is respect the Constitution. If somebody would just read it, they would understand that our system was never designed to have this much power centralized by the federal government. It was to be dispersed out there in the states. And in part, that was as a protection for this great republic, so that you didn't have too much power situated in too small a place, which is exactly what we have done. So push the power back to the states. Let a lot of the regulatory authority happen at the state level, not the federal level. Let Medicaid programs be run by governors, not by bureaucrats in Washington. Let a lot of the environmental regulations be controlled at the state level. There are lots of ways in which the power can be dispersed, pushed back down, and also you can test things. So if you want to try something, try it in 8 or 10 states. If it works, everybody will adopt it. If it doesn't, you haven't made a 50-state template mistake.
In about a month, we're going to be having the first of the Republican primary debates. How do you feel about that? How important is that to you?
Well, I think the debates are going to be an important part of kind of separating who's really serious about running for president, who has the right experience, as well as who can articulate our message in a way that connects to ordinary people out there. I know that the stage is going to be crowded. I have a solution for that. I think if the other guys would simply step aside, let me have the stage to myself for that first debate, we could simplify this process and save a lot of money in the whole deal.
You think Trump will go for that?
Probably not, but he should, and it's something I would highly recommend to all the other would-be candidates.
Now, you carried Georgia in 2008. Do you feel good for next year, or is it going to be more challenging than back then?
Well, it's always more challenging. You never take anything for granted, but I feel really good about where we are in Georgia. Polls show us in a very good place here. I think the people of Georgia showed how intelligent they were in 2008. And I've often said, if the rest of the country had been as smart as Georgia was in 2008, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today. And all I got to do is to remind them of that their choice then should still be their choice today.
Thank you very much, Governor Huckabee.